and welcome to Coffee Break Blogging, where you'll learn to grow and monetize your blog in short, tactical installments you can use right away. Now here's the next episode in our series. Hello there, and welcome to episode 110 of Coffee Break Blogging. Now, in the last episode in 109, we talked about banner advertising and why it really is a dumb way to monetize your blog in most cases. So from there, if I just declared the default monetization method out there dumb, we obviously need to replace it with something. And that's exactly what we're going to begin today. We're going to start talking about real business and how to build that around your blog, because this is the ticket. This is how you monetize. And we should probably even drop the language of using the word monetization, because it tends to be an afterthought. It tends to be this something you do once an audience has been built. But the way that it really works is that monetization is a fundamental component to how you build the traffic to begin with. So we've talked about that before. We talked about it in our last phase here of Coffee Break Blogging, when we were talking about traffic building. So we're going to get started right here on monetization / business building. And we're going to start talking about the transformation. Now, the transformation is something that I originally talked about on Coffee Break back in episode 42. So we're talking quite some time ago here, but I want to cover it again because it's so fundamental to how the business gets built. Everything begins with the transformation. Okay. Now, so what is this transformation? Well, the word transform, of course, means to turn from one thing into something else. And that's pretty much what your future customers are looking to do in whatever market you're in. They're looking to achieve some type of an outcome, and it's an outcome that they don't currently have. And for that reason, it's a transformation. They've got some current reality and they're looking for a new reality. And that's the transformation. Now, that transformation is going to be looked at in context of whatever market you're in. So, the transformation for the Blog Marketing Academy would be on one end, you have an unprofitable blog, or maybe even no blog at all. On the other end, you have an online business based around your blog, and you actually have money coming in every day. That's a pretty stark and obvious transformation. Another very obvious transformation would be the weight loss market. On one hand, you're overweight. On the other one, you're not. Very simple transformations. But there are transformations that you can find even in markets where it might not be as clear. For example, a lot of hobby markets. The person has this utopian vision of what it would be like to excel in that area of their hobby. And that's the transformation. They're trying to reach that point, whether it be preparing for a marathon or being able to bench press a certain amount or whatever it is. You're looking at what that world looks like to them at that point. What does it mean to them to be able to achieve that? And where are they now? And in between is the transformation. Now, this goes to product market fit very strongly, because product market fit is at the top of the blog monetization model that I talk about over at the Academy. The whole business is based around finding the right product market fit. But what makes a market to begin with is that they're a group of people who are united by the fact that they're all trying to achieve the same basic transformation. That's what makes them into a market. If it wasn't for that unifying factor, it would just be a group of people, but they're not necessarily a market. And so you can see why really understanding this transformation goes to the core of arriving at product market fit, because then we're going to be able to make the right products for that group of people to help them get that transformation. And that is the foundation that our business is going to be built upon. Okay? So let's state this again. People want the outcome, and that is the transformation. They want to move from one reality into another one. Now, this demand, this internal motivation that they have, is going to be fulfilled using training products, and that's usually going to be information. It could be coaching. It could be services. It can also be tools. But anything that's going to help them achieve that transformation. That's where your products are going to come from. So that's a very important thing. But the other thing that I mentioned there is that there's this internal motivation. You don't want to create some product and then go out there and try to convince people that they want it, because it's almost like you're trying to create the demand for it. What you need to be doing is finding that internal motivation. You should not have to convince them that they want this thing, okay? They should want the transformation. They want the outcome. That should be a foregone conclusion. Now, obviously, using your copywriting and sales, you're going to need to convince them that what you are offering is going to further them along in that transformation, but you should not have to convince them that they want the transformation, okay? So if they just wouldn't be a valid prospect at that point. So there needs to be that internal motivation. It needs to be something that they feel, that they think about often, that they just really want it, okay? So what you need to do with this transformation is you need to ask yourself, what does your audience want to accomplish? What are they looking to achieve? What transformation do they want to make? Now, the best markets out there, the ones that are going to be the best foundations for creating a real business, are going to be those markets that are oriented around a transformation of some kind. I gave you the transformation for the Blog Marketing Academy, and we all know that the internet marketing space in general is huge, and it's because there's a very strong internal motivation to people to do this. It is a very obvious transformation. Same thing with the nutritional or weight loss market. Very obvious transformation, and we know exactly what they're trying to accomplish, okay? Now, so if you're in a market like that where the people who are there are generally trying to accomplish something, it could be to pass an exam, it could be to get better at a hobby, to win that marathon, it doesn't matter what it is, you need to identify that, and you need to write it down, and you need to put it on a big piece of paper and put it on your desk so that it's there in front of your face at all times, because you don't want to lose sight of that. Now, I want to also speak to this idea of what I'm going to call sub-transformations, because they are there. A lot of markets are fairly large, and they are going to have one core transformation to them. But beneath that, there's going to be what I would call sub-transformations, okay? Things that they are going to want to accomplish, but it might be part of a larger whole. And that's something that you can also outline as well. So what I would actually recommend is that you pop out an outlining program, where you can use bullet points. It could be just a word processor, and start off with your main transformation for your audience, and then break it down into some sub-transformations, some things within there that they would be trying to accomplish that kind of line up with the overall whole, okay? Now, for each transformation that you come up with here, you want to outline the typical problems or the typical barriers that people usually have to overcome in order to achieve that transformation, okay? Now, this should be fairly obvious, but, in my market, I've got the overall transformation that people go from no blog to profitable blog, okay? A lot of stuff in between there that people are going to have to overcome. It'll probably start out with literally installing WordPress and getting your hosting and your domain and all that. It's another very common one at the beginning is determining what your niche is going to be. Now, so these are typical little sub-transformations or problems or barriers, you could say, that are on the pathway of the transformation that I deliver with my business. And so in your situation, you need to look at what are people typically needing to overcome. If they're let's say you're helping people train for a marathon of some kind, so you're in like a fitness type space. What typical barriers are they going to have to typically overcome in order to successfully train for that marathon? Are they going to be dealing with how to, I don't know, I'm not doing this myself, but what are they going to be dealing with? Any pains associated with exercise that maybe you need to give them a solution for that? Are they not knowing what to do to which would be a pretty obvious one. So you probably would deliver some type of product or even coaching that's oriented around alleviating that confusion about what to do and what pathway to get on to be ready for that marathon. So just put this level of brainstorming in place for your market. What are those problems and barriers that they're going to need to overcome? Now, once you have that list of problems and barriers they're going to have to overcome, then that is fodder for your products and services, the things that you're going to offer. So you want to take the time to match up products to those things that your audience is going to have to accomplish. Okay? Line them up to the problems. All right? This is how you're going to have internal reasons in the minds of your people on why they're going to want your thing. Okay? So that's how it lines up. Now, ideally, these are going to be products or services that you provide. Now, there's a good chance that if you're listening to this right now, you might not be providing those things already. So this is the kind of thing you're going to put into your future plans, or you're at least going to verify it with pre-sale and stuff like that. All stuff we'll talk about a little bit later. But these are products that you're going to, put on your agenda. Now, if you already have products, then great. You just saved yourself a lot of work. Now, one other thing would be that if maybe you have a product, you have a problem or barrier in that transformation that there's an affiliate product for, but you're just not going to make that thing yourself. So that's great. Have affiliate offers. But the big thing is your best affiliate promotions are not going to be by littering up affiliate links in your sidebar and all this bullcrap. It's going to be by engaging in actual marketing aligned around the transformation. And when you get them in that mode where they're really trying to accomplish a particular thing, and then you say, oh, by the way, your absolute easiest way to accomplish that is by using this tool, they're going to be a much stronger prospect for that tool using your affiliate link than they would have been otherwise, because people just don't blindly click on affiliate links and buy them. They're going to buy them when they're motivated, okay? So remember that. All right, now I want to end off this episode with one thing, and that is that what happens if you just don't see a clear transformation in your niche? What do you do here? There are niches out there where like if you're primarily news oriented, it can be definitely more difficult. If you talk about stuff like politics or sports or something like that, it can be more difficult to identify what your niche, not what your niche, but what your transformation is going to be. So then it can therefore be hard to figure out what you can make that you could sell to your audience. So there's a couple things I'm going to bring to mind here. The first one is that you might want to actually consider tweaking your market some. You don't just, if you're not that established in the market that you're in and you don't see any clear transformation, well, that's a nice time to consider tweaking your market, or maybe even a complete and total pivot, because you're not losing anything here. So don't get wedded to an idea that you just don't see a potential business path to. So be open to just moving into a different market or tweaking your approach to the market that you're in, so that you can open up to serving people who want a transformation. The second thing that I want to mention here is that if you're just in a market, you're established, and you just don't see that transformation, then you need to really get inside the heads of the people that you're talking to, survey them, and really learn your avatar. That avatar is that persona, that personality, because when you really learn the avatar, you're going to find unrelated transformations that they're probably still trying to accomplish, but they might not be directly related to what it is that you're doing. Okay? But you're only going to know that if you really, really get to know your audience really well. What makes them tick? What kind of concerns do they have? Because those concerns could line up to transformations and potential product offers that you might not otherwise see because you're so busy talking about news or sports or what have you, okay? So look for the transformation that they have that might not be directly related to your niche. And I'm going to give you an example here, and this is in the political space, because political stuff can be hard to monetize as a blogger because typically it doesn't really align around all that much. So most political blogs end up being primarily advertising dependent. Okay. So here's an example. The Glenn Beck program, Glenn Beck, or the Blaze or what have you. Now, it doesn't matter whether you like him or whether you don't like him, but he's a really big force in the political space. Now, he's a classic example of somebody who talks about news and politics, which does not line up very well to a transformation. But if you really understand the avatar that he speaks to, you'll see that they are trying to accomplish certain things. Generally speaking, that market has a lot of fear in it. I mean, I'm just going to call it like it is. It is a fear-based market that he is serving. And so you'll find that he has survivalist type products there, or people who are trying to arrange their finances for, for the economy to crash or that type of thing. Those are perfect examples of transformations that are in alignment with his avatar, okay? But not necessarily the primary subject matter of the Blaze. Okay, so that's an example. If you want to see it for yourself, just go over to theblaze.com. It doesn't matter whether you agree with him or whether you don't agree with him, but that is an example. It happens on many other markets. It also happens politically on the left. So it's the same exact thing, and that's a perfect example. If you're in the sports market, you're talking about sports, sports trades or whatever, then it's not going to line up that well clearly to a transformation. But there are transformations that a person who is interested in sports might be looking to accomplish, okay? And then you can go from there. So hopefully that was helpful. This is really important to understand. It's a very important fundamental to much of what's going to be coming up here later, because any sales tactic, any of that stuff doesn't really matter if you don't have a transformation that you are serving and that fuels a good, solid product market fit. Everything kind of depends on this. Okay, I want to end off by once again reminding you of the big blog monetization webinar. That's at blogmonetizationwebinar.com, where we do talk about this particular topic of the transformation, but also I give you and walk you through the entire business model from a bird's eye view on how to actually turn that transformation into a real business, okay? So that's at blogmonetizationwebinar.com. Head on over there, pick a date and time that works best for you, and I look forward to seeing you on that webinar. With that being said, hope you found this one valuable. I will see you in the next episode where we're going to begin talking about the funnel, the blog profit funnel, episode 111. I'll see you then. Thanks for listening to this episode of Coffee Break Blogging. If you like what you heard here today, we have something awesome we'd love to send you. It's called the Blog Conversion Guide, and it has 9 tweaks you can make to your blog in order to increase your conversion rate to get more opt-ins and sales. As one of our listeners, we'd love to give you access to this guide absolutely free. You can get your copy right now by going to coffeebreakblogging.com. Again, go to coffeebreakblogging.com to get your copy, and we'll see you next time.